Some athletes are remembered for what they achieved. A select few are remembered for when they achieved it. When the playoffs arrived, Michael Jordan's greatness stopped feeling surprising. People started expecting it. Then we have Mr. WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels. American football had Tom Brady, a career defined by what happened when one possession could define everything. Football has produced artists who could turn matches into theatre, and architects who could control 90 minutes before everyone else understood what was happening. But when the Champions League reduced an entire season to one night, people reserved a different description for Cristiano Ronaldo. So why did the Champions League seem to bring out a different version of Ronaldo? Because it did not begin that way. The Ronaldo who arrived at Manchester United wanted the ball constantly. He attacked defenders, attempted the difficult option, and sometimes held onto possession after a moment had already disappeared. The ability was obvious. The finished player was not. But year by year, the tricks became more purposeful. His body became stronger, and moves that once ended with another step over began ending in the net. By 2008, he was no longer simply football's most entertaining young winger. He had become its most destructive attacker. In Moscow, Ronaldo rose above Chelsea's defense and scored on the biggest night of his career. Later, he missed in the shootout, and for several minutes, the greatest season of his career was in danger of ending with him as the reason United lost. But then John Terry slipped. United survived, and Ronaldo ended the night as European champion. 42 goals, a league title, the Champions League, and before the year was over, the Ballon d'Or. At 23, Ronaldo had reached the pinnacle of football. 1 year later, he returned to the final, believing he could stay there. Instead, Barcelona took the game away from United. Messi scored, lifted the trophy, and became the face of the team defining European football. Weeks later, Ronaldo joined a club where Europe was not merely an ambition, it was an obligation. Real Madrid had won 9 European Cups, but when Ronaldo had arrived, they had spent 5 consecutive seasons failing to even reach the quarter-finals. Their history was beginning to feel heavier with every early exit. Ronaldo was supposed to end the embarrassment immediately. Instead came Lyon, then Barcelona, and then a semi-final against Bayern that reached penalties. Madrid trusted Ronaldo to take the first one. He missed. Kaká missed. Ramos missed. Bayern advanced. A year later, Dortmund ended another campaign. Ronaldo kept scoring, but scoring in the Champions League was still not the same as controlling it. 4 seasons in, Madrid had been eliminated 4 times. For the club itself, the wait had reached 12 years. La Décima was no longer simply the next trophy. It had become an obsession. Then came 2014. Madrid reached the final, but with Atletico leading and stoppage time disappearing, Ronaldo was not the player who rescued them. Sergio Ramos was. The header broke Atletico. Bale scored, Marcelo scored. Ronaldo added the 4th. It wasn't the decisive goal, but the celebration looked like release. Madrid's 12-year wait was over, and the weight of Europe had finally come off their shoulders. The name was not given because Ronaldo won every year. It formed whenever elimination moved close enough to feel real, and Ronaldo repeatedly pushed it away. In 2016, Madrid returned from Wolfsburg 2 goals behind and without an away goal. The return leg began with Madrid leading 3. Inside 17 minutes, Ronaldo had scored twice. The deficit disappeared before Wolfsburg had time to be comfortable defending it. The third arrived from a free kick. Hat-trick completed, Madrid through. Another desperate European night had become part of his reputation, but Wolfsburg revealed more than confidence. The player rescuing Madrid was no longer the winger who wanted to beat every defender himself. He touched the ball less, occupied narrower spaces, and waited where one movement could decide everything. He had traded some spectacle for efficiency. The Champions League did not restore the younger Ronaldo, It magnified the version that had become obsessed with the final action. And in 2017, the pattern becomes undeniable. 5 goals against Bayern in the quarterfinals, 3 against Atletico in the semi-final, and 2 against Juventus in the final. Then, in 2018,
and then Ronaldo!
The goal was extraordinary. The reaction explained the reputation. Juventus supporters stood and applauded the player who had just ended their own season. They were responding to more than one goal. They were acknowledging years of evidence. And that is how inevitability is created. Not because the result is guaranteed, but because the same player has changed it so often that everyone starts expecting the same thing next time. But memory is selective. A comeback survives, a bicycle kick becomes folklore. The ordinary nights disappear. If Champions League Ronaldo was genuinely different, the numbers should reveal it. Let's start with the semi-finals, where only 4 teams remain. Ronaldo scored 13 goals at this stage, more than anyone in European Cup history. Reach the final and the pattern continues. 4 goals, 1 for Manchester United, 3 for Real Madrid. No player has scored more in the Champions League era. Now let's widen the comparison. Messi and Lewandowski are not ordinary competition. They are 2 of the greatest scorers Europe has ever seen. Ronaldo finished with 140 goals in the Champions League and still created separation from both. But even the total hides the strangest part. 67 came in knockout football. 25 goals arrived in the quarterfinals alone. His record did not become smaller when the opposition improved. Those goals produced reputation. Manchester United in 2008, Madrid in 2014, then 2016, 17 and 18. 5 Champions League victories across 10 years. The performances created the reputation. The numbers confirmed that it was real. But neither explains why this competition fitted him so well. The answer was not hidden inside the anthem. Ronaldo did not suddenly become faster or more talented because the Champions League logo appeared on the pitch. The competition magnified the qualities he had chosen to build his game around. League football rewards control across months. Knockout football can reduce an entire season to 1 moment, 1 chance, or 1 mistake. Ronaldo did not have to dominate every minute to determine how the tie would be remembered. As he aged, he moved closer to the goal. He attacked the back post, became more dangerous in the air, and learned to disappear from defenders until the ball was already travelling towards him. And Madrid gave him the conditions to do it. Modric and Kroos controlled possession. Marcelo and Carvajal supplied width. Bale pulled defenders away. No player wins 5 European Cups alone, but the team cannot explain the entire pattern. The same players created opportunities for other forwards. Ronaldo repeatedly turned those opportunities into moments that people remembered. Skill produced the goals, repetition produced the expectation. The competition did not create a second Ronaldo. It filtered out the parts of his game that mattered least and magnified the parts that mattered most. Then Ronaldo left Madrid. New country, new teammates, an older body. If the reputation belonged to the system around him, this was where his first Juventus knockout campaign brought him back to Atletico Madrid. Atletico won the first leg 2-0 and arrived in Turin believing the tie was almost finished. Ronaldo scored once before halftime. Early in the second half he scored again. 2 headers had erased everything Atletico had built in Madrid. Another career-defining hat-trick. Juventus would not win the tournament, but the point had been made. The system had changed, but the expectation had not. Maybe that's why the name lasted. Champions League Ronaldo was never really acclaimed that the competition gave him new abilities. It was football's symbol of what pressure repeatedly revealed. Not every night ended in victory. He lost finals, missed penalties, and left the competition disappointed. Inevitability was never certain. It was belief built from the number of times he had changed the ending before. Jordan had the playoffs, Brady had the Super Bowl. European football had a player whose name became inseparable from its most important nights. Champions League Ronaldo was not another person. It was the same player on the stage that made his most decisive qualities impossible to ignore. The anthem did not change him. It changed what everyone else expected.